Right. So today, I'm going to share my window real quick. Let me know once you guys can see my screen. All right. And as usual, feel free to raise your hand on the Google Meet. I'll try to pay attention to chat as well. I'm normally pretty bad about chat though, so in case I miss it. I'll tee up conversations for the roadmap and product review for tomorrow's product vision sync. So if you guys are able to make that, that would be fantastic. Today we will also have our awesome mods, Bex and Paul, kind of talk through a lot of the stuff that they're doing on the community side, and particularly with our different volunteer submission forums and programs. They've been doing a lot of cool stuff there, and probably open up for Q&A there. And then Christian as well has got some cool designs to share with us in terms of our next major improvements on the profile and possibly our NFTs as well. And to get started, we usually help introduce any new team members that have joined. So I know we have a few folks that we can probably give a shout out to. Going through the list, Chris Parviso, have you had a chance to introduce yourself already? I cannot remember. I'm so sorry.
No worries. You have a
Okay.
thousand things on your plate. Yes, I did introduce myself at the last all hands.
Okay. Yep. Sorry. Joe Cow as well. Joe, you might have also done that last week. And yep. Sorry, Joe.
Yeah,
Could you just confirm?
last week.
Okay. And we do have Justin Wen, who is definitely new. At least that one I know for sure. So yeah, Justin, welcome aboard. Justin is helping us out, and he's a good friend, former alumni. But yeah, Justin, please feel
Yeah,
free.
so thanks, guys. Thanks for welcoming me, and excited to help how I can. Jeremy and I have known each other for years, going way back to our days at Blizzard. So good friend, and something I'm really passionate about, right? And most recently, I was at NZXT, but in between gigs, and wanted to make sure that I was contributing. Leyline, from the moment Jeremy told me about it, I was just, this is amazing, right? And I just love the idea of helping to contribute to building another world. I've got my little girl down here and another one in school, and it just really resonated with me with the kind of world that we want to build for our children. So yeah, just slowly ramping up, right? I'll apologize if I'm not in a whole lot of meetings, but I'll get caught up a little bit more and contribute as much as I can. All
Thank you,
right.
Justin.
Yeah. No, thank you for having me here.
Yeah, well, honestly, like we're really privileged. Like, for those that don't know, Justin's really been working on his side for us to just make sure that Leyline's like super successful, especially from the NZXT side. So, in large part, a lot of our success is thanks to
Mhm.
the credibility that he's helped bring onto to our entire network and
Uh,
ecosystem. So, yeah, big
no,
shout out.
no, the success you guys have is because of the hard work that you guys have put in.
And
It was funny because what I said to Jeremy was, well, now that I'm not with NZXT anymore, I don't have a conflict of interest anymore.
yeah,
in
that's right.
in in helping from that side, I actually created a situation where I couldn't help more directly, but here I am. So very excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
everyone.
you. Yeah,
Hmm.
absolutely. And so yeah, just a friendly reminder, we do have a team roster. So if you please can add yourself into the roster so we know who's working on the project, what your skills are, it will help us tremendously because we continue to grow. Oh, what the heck? Oh my gosh. I have to see what happened. I hope somebody didn't delete the list here. I'm gonna go check the history on the page and see what happened. So on our business development pipeline, I've actually created some filters here, so we can see now the separation between investors that we're working with, sponsors that we're working with, and then nonprofit causes that we're working with. So at least that way, it can be a bit more focused around who's working on specific partnerships. So the columns to focus on are really in the committed and pitched areas. This is where a lot of like my focus is going to be to try and drive these large investments coming in. So this week, Chris Pariso is actually going to be helping us to continue to level up the objectives and KPIs, and then move it into a much more automated dashboard, working with Kareem and the engineering team. So part of our planning for this week is figuring out how to get that all sorted out. But as you can see, here we are at week 14, and there's a few highlights that I'll really call out. One is that we are continuing to see growth in our activity. So we are looking for how do we incentivize and drive social impact in the world. And we have made progress, and we are growing at a relatively decent clip. It's not declining, so that's good news. However, the rate of growth is not what we're aiming for based off the projections we're aiming for this year. And I'll get into our yearly projections in a little bit. And most of our activity and impact is really just based on the amount of active users that we have. So our target for Q1 was to hit 10K users, which I have to validate again, Steve. I think this projection might be a little bit off. And so what we're seeing is about, on average, anywhere between 4 to 7% growth week over week. So there's definitely some evaluation we should look into in terms of how we're going to be driving user growth and how we're reaching these audiences. So there's a number of ideas that are floating around. And so at the community meeting today, we'll really kind of jam on that and see how we can push that further. When it comes to crowdfunding, we have really reduced our goal dramatically, knowing that crowdfunding is going to be the most successful when we've got a larger and stronger community base. So crowdfunding would be a result of user growth. So we were not expecting a ton here, which is also why we're shifting towards much larger investors as well as NFT sales. The interesting thing to talk about, though, is that we continue to grow pretty steadily when it comes to our community and our engagement. So both on Discord and Twitter, these are kind of our lead channels right now. We're just seeing consistent growth here. We had a pretty massive spike on LinkedIn, and potentially this could have come from Ivan Kako's post, where he really just promoted Leyline a lot, specifically to the Brazilian audience. So it was all in Portuguese, and it got crazy engagement. And he sent me a bunch of stats around who we ended up connecting with, which includes some social impact investors. So I'm going to start to reach out to them. So that might be an interesting opportunity. LinkedIn is this fascinating place to drive business leads, where Discord and Twitter seem kind of our go-to communication channel with our customers and people that are interested in kind of following how we're doing. And particularly, I think NFTs are a very popular audience for us, especially on Twitter. And as you know, NFTs are exploding right now, or as you may not know, NFTs are really, really exploding, which I can get into in a little bit. Jamie, you just raised your hand?
Yeah, I have a question about donations. Two things. In terms of donation, are we allowed to globally, if someone, let's say I have a friend that wants to help out and be like, hey, put I don't know, she's a restaurant or something, and put a ley line kind of I guess sticker or I don't know, poster or whatever, and be like, you can donate here. Is that okay?
I believe so. Yes. I don't think there's anything necessarily stopping other people to help promote for us.
Okay.
I think, we just also always have to be mindful of in what context it's being placed on. So for example, if we're donate to Leyline as part of a, identity stealing scheme, we're going to want to make sure that we don't get associated with that. So there's always some judgment to make there, but in general, absolutely. Let's allow that. And Eugenia brings up a great point, which is because we are a 501c3 nonprofit, we have to make sure there's a very clear distinction between our operations and political action, for example. Because if we are showing and demonstrating any particular bias or affiliation, it could put our status in jeopardy. So there are some judgment calls that we should make. But as these opportunities come in, you can definitely reach out to the business development pod or legal pod and just say, hey, we've got an opportunity here. Just want to do a double check. I think it couldn't hurt to check with the pods.
Okay, because I just had a question because my friend is opening up a bar in the Philippines, and I think it's a good opportunity to get people to donate. And also, she like she's kind of like famous there. So this is like a perfect opportunity to like bring that up. And then I told her also like, you know, you can like have cryptocurrency as like one of your ways of payment besides like pesos there. And then like if you have like a promo or like maybe like for donation like purposes like for the month, like maybe like 10% of it goes to like donation to Leyline or something like that.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And yeah, literally a poster with a QR code will just give direct access to our donation Bitcoin or Ethereum wallets. So
Yes.
very, very doable.
Awesome.
But thanks. Thank you for pursuing that, Jamie. That helps
Great.
tremendously. So just as a quick reminder, you know, what we're trying to do as well is make sure that for each week we've got these consistent pillars of how we can all get together, align, synchronize, ask questions, and make sure that as a fairly large organization, we're operating to the same beats. So a few key meetings I highly recommend are attending, obviously all hands. So thank you for being here. Tomorrow on Tuesdays, we go through the product vision sync, and this is going to be quite helpful because our products and features are constantly evolving and adapting as we learn a lot more and as we land specific partnerships. So this is a perfect way to understand what are the major priorities taking place on a development side, but all the activities related to that core development. And every other Thursday, we're doing a show and tell, so that way the pods can showcase their amazing work as well as their key learnings and whether or not their hypotheses on objectives and key results actually panned out. So I think we really want to embed this culture of learning consistently, asking questions, challenging our assumptions, validating our hypotheses, and then adapting as a result. So if there's any doubt of like which meetings to try and attend, it's definitely these three at the minimum. We'll always make sure that we record the meeting as well as take some copious meeting notes so that we can always catch up if you ever have to miss it. So really want to reinforce that for everybody. And I'll skip the roadmap review and product roadmap review because that will be the focus for tomorrow's sync. We've got a lot of updates here, so please join if you can. So that being said, I'm going to hand over the showcase to Bex and Paul. Bex, are you guys good to do some presenting or at least talking?
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
I can present. It's fine. Hey, everybody. I'm Bex. And Paul, if you want to introduce yourself as well, that's great. We are mods over at Discord. I know most of you, but if we have not met, hello. Let me get this presentation up.
Thanks, Bex. I want you to do it all. I'll just watch.
Okay. All right.
Paul is the quiet storm, I say. He's silent but
the quiet
deadly.
storm. Let me see. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
up now. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So we are mods over at Discord, so we're working every day basically with the community and our alpha testers. But one of the things that we've been working on is creating forums to help our alpha testers currently earn points in new ways. And until we get that implemented fully on the website, we've got these forums which they can easily access on Discord. The first one is our Leyline donation volunteer verification form, which is actually linked on the Leyline website on the impact page. So if you click like, oh, I donated, or oh, I like donated blood, or I volunteered, you will be sent to this form. It won't look like this. This is like the back end version of it. But so basically we just have like the point breakdown. We do have a note that blood donations and plasma donation points are only eligible in specific regions because there are many regions, for example, France, that it is illegal for us to give people points. And hello, Christian. So basically you just ask, what did you do? Did you donate blood? Did you volunteer in an organization? Did you donate goods? Did you do something else? And then we ask them to please describe their activity, the name of the organization, the date to provide some sort of proof or verification that they did this and on that date. And then any links to social media posts that they may have made regarding their donation or volunteer experience, so we can then share it on Leyline. As of right now, we have 10 responses. I believe a couple of those were testing responses, But even still, we've got blood donations. We've got volunteered at organizations. People have donated to Goodwill. I can give an example. So if we go to Aaron's, so Aaron donated blood last week, and you can see filled out, donated blood, did it with the American Red Cross, the date, and gave proof, like that's his email that he got from them, and then there's his barcode and the little paper that you get after you donate, which just helps us verify that it did happen and it happened on that date. Does anybody have questions about this form?
I did want to add in, Bex, as well, that we will probably need to work out a process to make sure that we're securing any personal identifiable information, just to make sure we're compliant with GDPR and CCPA regulations.
Okay.
We could take that one offline, but maybe we can set up a chat with Alina and the legal pod to just make sure we're looking pretty solid there. Oh, and Chris, if you have a hand raised.
So I'm always hesitant because this isn't fully fleshed out since it just occurred to me. I'm wondering, as we're trying to get partners, like large global partners in the nonprofit sector, since that was a conversation we've all had recently, if with our growing horde of student volunteers and ambassadors, we might be able to offer to automate and farm out some of their back-end work in our system as part of a value added for being a partner with us. I just didn't know if that had been thought about or talked about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's very much the opportunity. And in large part, I think I think as we set up these partnerships, as long as they're kind of adhering to specific criteria like nonprofit, humanitarian, etc., I do think that could be a massive opportunity as we continue to scale. That may take some time to get into place, but I think that is certainly something on a roadmap.
Yeah, I'm just thinking as an initial conversation, as we make these first contacts, that would be a huge carrot to dangle.
Yeah, agreed. And to share, the conversation that we have with Nonviolent Peace Force, that's absolutely where they see a big value proposition, because a lot of their operations are really just manual and via spreadsheets. So they absolutely see this great opportunity with, wow, it's great for us to partner with, a tech-focused nonprofit that can serve as partly the back-end and validation service on our side, but theoretically, knowing what their struggles might look like as we integrate with them, we could potentially throw some resources their way and say, hey, we could do some student projects here to help automate and script some of your processes. So yeah, I think we're going to be able to test out some of that opportunity with that upcoming partnership. So it's very exciting and lovely idea. Sorry, Bex, to interrupt, but
No,
please.
no worries.
Oh, and it looks like Jamie might have his hand up, just FYI.
Oh, sorry, I'm good.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
So moving on, we have our refer a friend form as well. I do not believe that you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I do not believe this is live on our website right now, but it is accessible through our Discord. We have a Start Here page that has all the information you need to know about Leyline, including access to all of our forms that we have. So this is one that we have made live very, very recently. And Paul, let me know if I mess up anything, because I know this is like your baby. You're going to have it on Impact soon. Sick. Thank you, Paco. But basically, it just breaks down the reward system for which invite you do, and then the NFT rewards that you can meet, and then what your friends need to do when you refer them. They need to sign up. They need to make an account on Discord. That's not like required, but hopefully, because it's really nice. And then just like join the server, access our alpha testing program, that sort of thing. And then it's just simple. We just need the person's information, their friend's information, so we can find them, date that they invited them. And we have 11 responses so far from people who have referred friends. And then we have within there, the section is on the Start Here section. It should be the second one down after your introductions. And then let's see. So like you can go in and then we also have it broken down. Like, did the friend already join? Have leyline points been awarded to that person? Has an NFT been rewarded to that person? That sort of thing. With these two forms that I just showed, the refer a friend and the donation volunteer verification forms, this is something that I am working on this week to have the mods meet on a reoccurring basis, where we will sit down and we will go through and we will manually award points to everybody, and we'll be all on the same page, and it will be all tracked through that Google sheet. So yeah, any questions on this form? No?
One thing I'll also add in is, a lot of the approach that we have with setting up all these Google Forms is really about prototyping and then, kind of testing the process and making sure it all works cleanly. And then the goal is, as we demonstrate that it's working well, that there's pickup and usage, it, tears us up to say, okay, let's build this into the actual platform and then allocate the engineering resources to make it happen. So that's a nice thing about being able to set all these up, because it doesn't require engineering work. It's just, we run an experiment, paper prototype. So at least that way we know that, once engineers get it in the pipeline, it's like pretty, verified that this thing is appropriate and has value. So just kind of wanted to share that's what the process looks like. So that there's an end goal of all of this to be embedded into, the Leyline app or the website.
The refer a friend form has been used 11 times so far by our alpha testers. Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah. And I think we're just getting started as well, because we haven't really pushed it so hard. I think we just had it as a backup because there was demand for it already. But I think as we kind of plug it into the website and it's much more discoverable, we're hoping we're going to get to see more pickup.
I just pushed this out on Discord recently, and then I think at the community sync today we were going to talk about trying to kind of promote it on social media as well, being like, hey, like you can now refer a friend and here's the form, and see if people use it. But I know it was something that people were asking for, which we are happy to provide. All right.
One question on refer a friend. So I had Christian hopefully create like a banner or something to replace that Earth
The world?
Yeah, the world pretty much. So I'm not sure if we're gonna leave that like that or what's gonna happen with that.
Yeah, I can send you a link. We have a bunch of social media banners that are kind of more in line with some of the stuff we have on the site right now. I'll send that to you in Slack.
Okay,
Yeah.
that works.
And I think as well, adding the images of the actual NFT prizes that you get, the friendship bracelet, the Hydra Trident, and the Hydra Shield, I think, showing that as a prominent, like, hey, this is what you'll get, will probably add the incentive to say, hey, that's pretty cool. I would love to get that NFT. And in particular, that is really our big opportunity, because NFTs are exploding in popularity right now. And in particular, we have a lot of connections into the NFT space and, the Token Smart community, for example. So that's certainly going to appeal a lot to these collectors and that type of psychographic profile. So I think plugging in that and really emphasizing that is going to be super helpful. So very much like our strategy is really to ride this wave of popularity with NFTs and just, double down on that, because we're going to be able to attract a lot of interest in that regard.
Awesome. Okay, moving on.
Quick question.
Oh yeah, go for it.
How are we awarding the prizes for the Refer a Friend program right now? Is it all manual?
The leyline points are all manual. I am not sure how we're doing the NFTs, or if that's even like a live thing yet.
We have the ability to, but we have to work with engineering to figure out the right process there. And maybe Hugo, you can probably guide us in the right direction. So we'll probably talk about this today at the product planning meeting as well. We have many things to talk about there.
Yeah, I would imagine that awarding the NFT would be relatively easy, but it's the detecting whether or not someone has qualified for the NFT would be a little bit more difficult to manually do, or at least because we'd have to basically like just check in periodically, which doesn't seem like a great system. So yeah, as soon as we can get it somewhat,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I believe that probably the process we'll use for the short term is we'll have that weekly review with the mods to basically review all the different Google forms and what's been submitted, and then we kind of process and double check and say, okay, this is validated, great, leyline points, or okay, this is who they referred, let's look at their account and then see if they had the activity and then give the thumbs up. And yeah, it's going to be pretty tedious for now, but at the moment, the volume is pretty low that it's manageable, but as soon as it starts to get out of hand, we're going to have to really escalate that into, engineering. So that way it becomes much more automated.
Yeah.
All right. Hand it back to you, Vex. Sorry.
No, this is great. The third form that we have is the new Leyline volunteer program form, which Paul made. Thank you so much. And this is going to be used pretty much internally right now. This isn't used for the alpha testers themselves, and the mods ourselves. We are going to be the guinea pigs on this first, which is just it's designed to reward the people that help with a ley line and volunteer their time and work pro bono and that sort of thing. Basically, you're just going to track your hours and fill out the form each Monday so that on Tuesdays, the Discord mod team can review all the submissions and grant leyline points like we are with the other forms. There are different categories that you can do, whether it be new member onboarding or just moderation, giving Boink support, helping with workshops, doing panels, that sort of thing. But it'll grow as more people volunteer and we kind of open it up. But right now we're going to test it out with a mod, see how accurate we can be with our hours and that sort of thing, and see if it really works for us. But right now we're trying to cap contributions at 10 hours per week with 20 leyline points per hour to keep it truly a volunteer experience and not a part-time job. Jamie wants to test it out.
Yeah, I'd say, and to kind of share the philosophy around this, the first element is that we are a nonprofit and you're very much humanitarian, environmental focused in terms of our impact. So we theoretically qualify as doing good in the world, and we have so many people that are contributing time and energy to really building this amazing ecosystem and developing a product. So we figured we might as well reward that. But on top of it, the beauty of being able to track this effort is something that we can actually surface onto your leyline profile. So, imagine now your digital resume, including, you volunteered 1,000 hours over at Leyline. Like, that's a very powerful statement, which even just demonstrates our credibility as an organization, that all of these people are putting in this effort because they believe in what we're doing and trust that our vision and our mission is the right thing to invest their time in. So there's a lot of these side benefits that really kind of come together for why this program is important, aside from just getting the leyline points. Like, I think, that's certainly the economic reward, but there's certainly this element of, giving you guys some satisfaction and seeing how much you've really put as effort. And data is great because then we can, really highlight that, give shout outs, build dashboards, and, even set up our own competitions and events. So this is dog fooding to the extreme. I talk about dog fooding a lot, but this is basically us building our own product as we use it. So it's, I'm very excited about this. I hope that, it can evolve into something really cool over time.
Yeah, I'm excited to test it out. Yeah. And then just really quick, the last two things that we have, which I believe most of you have probably encountered one way or another, is our Leyline user guides that we put together, which is anybody that signs up for alpha testing, they are then directed to the user guides, which breaks it down very easily on how to sign up for Discord, Science United, Boink, install, link everything together. It's very step-by-step hand-holding, but also links to our forms as well. And then any helpful links with Boink if they have additional questions. We're really trying to help our testers and our community members be as self-sufficient as possible, so they don't feel confused. I can drop the link. You can also find all of these links very easily in our Start Here program, or our Start Here channel on Discord. It's the top channel that we have. the very first thing that you'll see in that channel is all of our links to all of our forms and our guides and our facts. And then the other thing we have is our actual facts. Let me drop a link for that as well. And this is our facts. This is linked in our Start Here channel. It's also linked in our facts channel. So if people can't find it or are looking for facts, they'll get directed here very easily. And these are just our questions about Leyline. Like, what is Leyline? How do I connect? All your questions about Boink, any questions you can have about Leyline points, waitlist and alpha testing, and then as well about gift cards and coupons. To really just try and, as we grow, right now we have 540 members on Discord. And as that continues to grow, we need easier ways for people to kind of have their frequently asked questions answered. And this also helps any new mods coming in. They can just copy paste answers. And then that way our answers are kind of the same across the board, no matter who's answering. But yeah, this has probably been one of the most useful things we've ever created when it comes to Discord, because the amount of questions has gone down so much since we've had this and have been able to link people to it. And like, anytime you whitelist someone, it's like, okay, like you're whitelisted, let us know if it works. And then also like, here's a link to our guides and our facts. And like, people right off the bat are like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, I know what's happening now. So yeah, does anybody have any questions? No? Oh my gosh, I feel like Jeremy right now and he's like silence.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's just stuck.
I have a question for you if you want.
Yeah.
It's about bots basically, because I know that there is a lot of discussion about how we could leverage bots more efficiently and more interestingly for different actions, etc.
Yeah.
And the fact that you like pointing out facts that are like one of the main questions that the users are. I'm pretty sure that there is a bot for that. So what are our stake or our stance on the use of bots for our Discord community?
Yeah, we have been implementing more bots as of late. We actually have like a new XP system that Haley set up on our Discord, where like the more active you are, the more XP you earn, and then you can have like a rank on the Discord. And we're trying to set up like cool new roles that you can earn through like being active. As for like answering for facts, I'm not opposed to it, though I do think there is a certain sort of connection and intimacy when you are getting a direct response from one of the members themselves. And people often have like a lot of follow-up questions or like very nuanced questions that are particular to their situation. But I'm not opposed to it, no.
I definitely agree with both sentiments, and particularly the latter. You know, there's something really powerful about having this, like, you know, direct human to human interaction. And, you know, I think a lot of where we're seeing tremendous like loyalty and passion are, you know, when we can just engage with people as they have questions or they have challenges. And, you know, you can see the delta between people that might ask a question and we haven't really, you know, given enough attention. They tend to drop off. But as we invest in individuals, they just become super passionate and really want to help us improve the product and help us out, and then become advocates for us. So I think, you know, I really want to shout out, like, you know, our community team for building that, because I think we wouldn't really have the engagement we have today without just those small, really powerful, positive, you know, people interactions. So it's why, like, you know, I really want to give you guys the spotlight, because it's so great to see, you know, that investment and then, you know, the rewards that come out of it.
I appreciate that. And what's really cool is that you find the people that come in that become alpha testers that have a ton of questions that you really work with and give that one-on-one time with. They now are the people that when other people have questions, they're jumping in and answering the questions, which I think is really, really cool, that like our alpha testers are now answering questions about Boink and about Leyline and stuff like that. But they've been through it. So yeah,
it's really wonderful.
Cool. Yeah, it's creating a very good environment on there, which I really, really like. Yeah,
absolutely.
So anything else? Any questions? I'm going to stop presenting, but
Bex,
but if anybody has questions, let me know.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
Go Pineapple.
Well, Bex is more of the main person for Discord, but let's see, what else do we do on Discord? Like, she already mentioned it, so we do answer questions on Discord, like Boink, general questions, Leyline points, waitlist. pretty much everything that's listed on our FAQ page, making sure we understand how the website works so we can answer those questions. We'll also help users if they want to be alpha testers, where we can do that as well.
In the Q&A every week. So if
Yeah.
you guys want to come to the Q&A, it's
Oh,
always
yeah.
a good
That
time.
was
Saturdays at noon.
my
PST.
next thing. Attending meetings, and then the engineering team probably knows me best, but breaking the website, finding bugs and issues. So I won't be surprised if they start yelling right now. So yeah, or at least that's what I do. But Bex does all the meetings and announcement stuff.
We love the bug reports, Paul. Keep them coming. Because it just forces us to, improve. And better we hear it than people say, all right, screw this, I'm out of here. So that's fantastic. I love it. And you know what?
Can I ask you one though? Because I already found one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So for the engineering team, okay. So I know that it's capped at 24 hours a day for BOINC, and you can only get 240 points or leyline points. But my question is let's say I have 2 computers, right? And they're running BOINC 24/7. Shouldn't I get 48 hours for added to the hours donated?
But it's the same account, your same
Yeah.
Science United account. So it always goes to the same account, which is linked
Well,
through Leyline. So it caps
Paul,
it.
if I may, Paul, maybe let's take this one offline because it's going to lead to a whole philosophical conversation.
No.
But this is a great call out. Let's definitely chat about this afterwards. Thank you. Just a final note, because I want to make sure we have some time for Christian to go through his amazing stuff. This has really been a fascinating learning experience because we've become the front lines for BOINC in many ways. So our documentation and our customer service actually is stronger than the current BOINC teams, which I think is so interesting. And they're learning a lot from our experience in terms of, challenges, setup, how to actually download BOINC for Android. So it's been a really, really great learning experience, and we're actually really benefiting that community by participating. So yeah, I really wanted to emphasize that. And so sorry to cut you guys short. I just wanted to make sure we had some time for Christian. And again, big shout out to you guys. Thank you so much. We love you. All right, Christian, please take it away.
All right, I guess that's my cue. Yeah, I appreciate your vote of confidence. Jeremy's like, check, so I have time to show my awesome stuff. He hasn't even seen it yet, so that's one of the reasons I like working here is the blind faith aspect. But let me share my screen. Okay, you're able to see that, okay? I'm just gonna first of all just go through kind of for context the page as it exists now, and then sort of just talk about sort of the thoughts behind the design, and then I'm going to show you kind of my first pass at redesign on this page. So really, Jeremy's mentioned a lot. I think this page is probably the most important in the product in that it allows quantifying the data. It's a personal resume that he mentions. But I also think it's like the single best candidate for really trying to tell that story that a lot of Leyline is born out of Blizzard, and that level of quality and that level of just attention to detail. So I think what we have now is pretty prototype, leaving a little wanting, but so you have kind of like statistics up here, database, and then the idea behind this would be sort of like a your online identity, and this should be somewhat customizable and allow you to personalize it. Ultimately, it should be shareable, so that you can sort of brag about it and show it off to your friends or other people, other people within the Leyline. So here's kind of what we have today, and then I'll walk you through kind of just the overall thought process on this first pass. So one of the main challenges is that on the art and engineering side, having items that the character can wear is a pretty complicated endeavor. So on this first pass, I'm just looking for some basic customization, which would be the background, like allowing a pet to be equipped, the avatar to be changed out, and then featuring like an item or trophy. So those will be like kind of the main components of that are customizable. The other thought on this is, there's concern that not everyone is a gamer, and we really want to appeal to the audience outside of that. NFTs and the items and utilizing the marketplace is really important to our overall sustainability, but we don't need everyone to participate in that. We just need kind of like a core group of people that are passionate about that to really drive that economy. So we want to provide other options as far as layouts. So my thinking here initially would be to maybe show the non-gamer layout and then allow it to be maximized into more of the digital identities, gamer stuff versus like the data and statistics. So just really rough wireframe, but inventory would be kind of expanded a bit. It's more about like kind of showcasing what you have, being able to go through the items that you have and look at them, show them off, as opposed to like equipping them, since there's like a limited amount of customization. And then kind of data being last, in the gamer sort of centric layout. And these are all theories that we can test statistically and adjust based on what is getting engagement and what people are looking at and using. So here is kind of my thoughts on like a non-gamer layout, which would be to take kind of this avatar background, well, not worry about any of the customization other than the avatar and background, and then kind of put that into a left column. Same with the items that you have collected, and then really just kind of feature prominently the data. So that for the non-gamer, this is going to all be a lot more about the digital resume, and you can easily switch between the two layouts, just with like kind of a minimize maximize button. I don't need to get too into this, but this is kind of like a cross section of what how I see the data breaking down, which is like the product, the product you're contributing to, and statistics on that, like CPU donation, blood donation,
Christian,
personal.
could you zoom in just a tiny bit? Sorry.
Yeah,
thank you.
Sure. I have something visually that explains this better, so I'll go through it pretty quickly. But so your personal statistics and participation, and rank within the community. So I think the gamification element of providing some sort of status and where you sit in the pack is really important, until we add like a friend system or other means of really competing and adding that layer into the system. So then it would be like kind of personal achievements, and we need to sort of come up with a whole list of these, and I think this could actually be pretty fun. I think a lot of them could be tongue in cheek and just entertaining and really kind of be an opportunity for us to like express our personality as a company. And then lastly, this section I haven't gotten to in my mockup yet, but this is going to be the community dashboard, which I think will probably be at the top of the non-gamer layout. And this is really going to give you a sense of what the entire community is doing. I want to do graphs here in terms of engagement based on like kind of the product or cause that are cause participation. So we should be able to basically take our KPIs and make them a lot more visual, public, and dynamic. So everybody can kind of get a sense of where in the world Leyline exists and what that participation looks like. And this is just reference, but so with that being said, I'll jump into my layout. So this is my first stab at this, but so here is kind of the game. This is the gamer layout, and so the background here I see as like the piece where we can really like kind of go over the top and surprise people. I'm playing around with a few dynamic animations where you can see like kind of light filtering through fog, and like there's movement in the background, like as far as glows, but the elements in the foreground are relatively static. I'm gonna play with some mockups that add some animation to that as well. But I think the simplest opportunity would be just to create different backgrounds that are animated, and then everything you put over the top is just going to feel a little bit more alive because you have that kind of looping animation going on in the background. So if you want to see kind of what that's going to look like, make sure you come to the show and tell. I'll be showing some of those animations and stuff that I've been messing with. But here we have basically a trophy that's been equipped to be featured, avatar, you know, the username. Jamie, thanks for letting me borrow yours, and the ability to edit. This is a pet that's been equipped, and so, you know, it really just comes down to like kind of, you know, making it feel like it fits in the environment a little bit. I added just like kind of some generic shading and stuff like that kind of grounds the two-dimensional art. And I'm thinking these could vary quite a bit. I mean, this is just kind of like a portal concept, but the background could really be anything. And I think those are going to be kind of some of the coolest assets, as it's going to like totally change the look and feel of this page. So the button up here, I probably need to label. It's not. I don't know how universal that icon is, but this would essentially switch you from the gamer layout to the more data-centric layout. And scrolling down, so this is sort of how I'm envisioning inventory. Like making everything quite a bit larger. It's still color coded by rarity. You know, so you have your rare items are yellow, green are the most common, and blue is kind of in between. The items that are equipped are checked, and there is a pop over here real quick. So this is a kind of the dialog box that exists right now, where, you know, you could list it on the marketplace to sell or unequip it, those sorts of. So the same sort of tooltip, telling you what the item is, if it's a background, a companion, avatar, and its rarity. Something similar to this will exist. But yeah, you can easily see what's equipped. Swapping these out will change kind of your main top display here. And yeah, you can easily browse through all your items. They're a lot larger, so you can kind of appreciate the artwork a bit more. I think, you know, one thing on the I'd like to have the tooltip actually enlarge these even more, you know, so you can really get more of the detail. We have some pretty beautiful art. I think it's a good opportunity to really showcase that. So here's kind of what I'm thinking on achievements. So they're checked if you've gotten them. There's again, it'll be a tooltip which will tell you what it took to get the achievement. And if you don't have it, it'll tell you what you need to do. So again, I think this is another opportunity to be somewhat playful and really be a bit more personable in being creative on this. I have sort of a dark sense of humor, so I might not be the best person to come up with the names on these, but yeah, no, I think this is like a good first pass at just an achievement system that'll reward kind of the more intrinsically motivated people that just want to do good in the world and, you know, keep track of what that is. So that would be that system. And here's kind of what I'm looking at in terms of quantifying product participation. So this bar, or this UI component, the circular UI, this will actually fill. I'm thinking this should fill to represent your placement within the leaderboard as a first means of engagement, competition, you know, and then making this element a bit more dynamic. I think that's a right place to start now until we add some more functionality. But you have kind of your total participation, your placement within the leaderboard, and we can play with the time period on this. Maybe doing quarterly or something like that will incentivize people that haven't been around for 6 months to actually move and climb the leaderboard. But this is sort of what I'm envisioning for this. And you know, this could obviously be more than one row. So, you know, I could see this being 2 or 3 rows, and we can paginate it as we add. But that's kind of the same approach for all of these. The only section I am missing is the kind of the community dashboard. And I think that's going to be a pretty cool one as far as you know, really being able to visualize what's actually going on in Leyline and its growth and its actual impact as a community. I think that's where we really can make the user feel powerful is in showing that data and really driving home that message that, you know, together we're a pretty powerful force to be reckoned with. And so that's the thought in my first pass on this. You know, our first art and design combined meeting is going to be Thursday, so I'm hoping. And we have some really talented designers, much more so than myself. So I'm thinking this thing will actually get quite a bit better in the next week or so. But I'd be happy to hear your concerns, thoughts. None of this is in stone. It's all kind of just based on conversations with Jeremy. I think, you know, all of this is subject to change. But yeah, I'd be happy to hear any concerns or questions you have.
Christian, is this going to be mostly on a vertical scroll, or have you considered having any sort of support like a sidebar or something like this, just to optimize a bit the space and reduce scrolling?
I'm kind of keeping it vertical just because it's so much easier to move it over to the mobile layout without having to like completely rethink everything. Yeah, we could. I think it might be useful to have a sidebar here where you could easily paginate, you know, easily paginate and scroll through. I think some future functionality might be, you know, being able to change the order of these. So maybe you do like the larger avatar profile background, but you don't really care about your inventory. You just want to kind of see your personal stats first, or your community stats. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there to kind of reduce scrolling, but maybe a menu might be a possibility. I kind of like the simplicity of this and how easy it'll translate to mobile, but we can always take another look at that later.
It looks really cool, man. Really.
It's worth calling out that over 50% of our traffic is mobile, so designing for that is absolutely essential. Sorry for the interjection. Antoine, please.
I think it's awesome, Christian. I was just wondering, because it's so awesome, where can I go see other people avatars?
Yeah, no, I think that's, you know, once we kind of have this in place, you know, that's the next logical step would be to, you know, be able to share it. But I think that the obvious integration points. Oh, the other thing I forgot to point out is so your profile image should be tied to the avatar you have equipped, and this is going to show up in the leaderboard. I think the leaderboards are an obvious first step. Being able to click through on somebody's name into their profile, that'll act as kind of like an initial directory until we have like kind of a friend system or something like that. But I think also the ability to maybe just copy and paste a link or short code that you know, links into other people's profile would be probably a cool first engineering step.
Yeah, and I'd say probably the philosophy behind it is, as much as possible, we want to be able to signal that somebody has an avatar and a profile to kind of check out and look at. I think a massive opportunity is actually also going to be through the marketplace. So as someone posts up an item that they're selling, you know, their identity is pretty much right there, that, hey, this item is being sold by the X person, which will actually drive people to take a look at their profile, see their inventory, and then see like their avatar and trophy setup. You know, also having like some element of this being shared on social. So like having a click like URL to say, hey, check out my profile, and then making it publicly accessible. So there's a lot of ways that we can really incentivize it, but that's really core is kind of building in this social cohesion on the platform that's going to drive interactions with other individuals. There may also be a way for us to, you know, have some integration with Discord too, because if that's where like our big community is and a lot of the NFT collectors, having some way to publicize it externally out of the platform will be super powerful. But yeah, those are just like brainstorm ideas and stuff we're going to have on the roadmap to burn through.
Okay.
Christian, you
awesome.
got a lot of awesome feedback on chat. If you haven't been able to see it, lots of excitement and call outs. Amazing work, really amazing work.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, it's been I mean, like I said, there we work with we have quite a few other designers who are really talented as well. So I think it's going to get better from here. But I'm pretty happy with it as a starting point. And yeah, overall, I think the initial approach of having the two layouts for the gamer non-gamer, it's going to be a good one to test.
Agreed. So yeah, we are a little bit over on time, guys. So apologies for that. Jamie, you have your hand up. Any last question before we end up breaking?
I was asking if there's like gonna be a mobile app or a mobile thing.
Yes, that's on the roadmap for sure. I think mobile app is quite essential for a number of reasons. One, just like for communication notifications, but vast majority of user traffic tends to be through mobile app, and that's our gigantic market opportunity when it comes to developing nations. So yeah, that's certainly something we want to have in place. But before we get there, we want to make sure that our infrastructure and user experience is fairly well polished, and we have a backend in place so that way it's easier to spin up an app. So because we're not massive yet in terms of capability, we want to just stay focused on getting our core features in place and the core loop in place, and then we can kind of migrate to or replicate that experience on mobile applications.
Got it.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining. Christian, again, thank you for the inspiration and amazing work. Thank you, Bex and Paul, for really holding the ground on the front lines and creating a great user experience for our customers and users. And let's go kick some ass this week. We got a lot of major opportunities, and looking forward to it. I love you all. Have a fantastic week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Jeremy. Bye, everyone.
All right. Take care, all.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Have a good one, guys.
And see you all at the product meeting.